What's up everyone, China Cycling here and welcome to the 2025 Shanghai Bike Show footage brought to you by pandapodium.cc. Yeah, that's right, this year we're doing a lot bigger than before. We have our own booth, and because the show is even massiver than before this year, I brought in some help. So usually the show is too much for little old me to cover, so this year we've invited both Velo and GP Lama to the show to get some coverage too. So yeah, let's dive into the show and see what we can see. Okay, here on the Incolor stand we have the updated version of the Intropy. So last year we saw they had the SS Plus. This year they're here with the new SSR. You can see new this year they've got the integrated head tube with the front fork to keep things nice and aero. Apparently they reduced the frontal area of the frame by like 20% or something. A bit of a crazy number. This was also tested in the Silverstone wind tunnel. Also I see back here we've switched to kind of like an ISP kind of setup. Also to reduce frontal area because you don't have the seat post clamp on the outside. It's all integrated on the inside. It looks like we've got support for UDH as well, so make this a more of a modern 2025 bike it looks like. And in general just all being refined as we go through. So in color, their cranks and their cassettes we sell over on Pandapodium. The frames we don't actually sell on Pandapodium yet. They're still trying to get things perfect before they start selling overseas, but it looks like they're getting closer and closer with this new version of the SSR. Okay, so yeah, you can see at the front here, the main focus has been on reducing the frontal area. This is one of the thinnest head tubes I've seen, especially integrated into the fork. I was just trying, it wasn't 20%, it's an 8%. But still, an 8% decrease in frontal area is absolutely huge. So yeah, this thing apparently is very fast in the wind tunnel. Okay, also on the Incolor booth, Incolor, they're kind of like the wizards of design. This is one of their concept bikes, absolutely crazy TT bike they got here. Or as I said, it's just a concept bike. It's not supposed to be a finished product or anything, but this thing is just amazing to look at. Great lines. I think this in your living room, just sitting on the coffee table, would be a nice thing to look at. The more you look at it, the more details you see. Yeah, super interesting design. Everything's parallel to the wind flow, so I reckon this would be pretty aero as well. And yeah, just a very nice looking concept time trial bike over on the Incolor stand. Okay, here on the Pardus booth, I think one theme you're going to find in this year's show is lots of new frames, and all of these frames with lots of holes in them. So here on the Pardus booth, we have the new Robin Sport. So as you can see here, we've got holes in the chainstay seat tube junction, but also we've got a hole up here in the head tube, top tube junction. So this is apparently the new all-road bike, so more of an endurance bike. So I guess this has two functions. It's making the top tube a bit taller without being too ugly, but it's also apparently adding to the comfort of the bike. So yeah, the brand new Robin Sport from Pardus, now with 3 holes, and like I say, this is going to be a theme of the show, frames with holes in them. So let's go find some more frames with holes in them. Okay, here also on the Scone booth we have this nice looking one. This is their Spark Evo, this is their aero frame, but as you can see in this paint job, this is one of the local teams here, the Wujishan team, but this paint job definitely caught my eye. We've got some pink and black, classic combination with some nice silvery gold decals on down tube. But yeah, if you want an aero option from Pardus, this is the aero option. Okay, over here on the Sensah booth, or as they're also known, Sensah. This is their brand new group set, so they're calling it the ECS. It's their wireless electronic group set. So if you look at the L2 stuff that's been coming out recently, maybe that's more based on a Shimano kind of system where you have the battery and then 2 cables going to the derailleurs. This is more based on the newer SRAM Red stuff. Even the shifter shape looks more like the SRAM Red E1 stuff. Very long shifter, more reach than the Shimano stuff maybe, and yeah, looks very similar to the SRAM Red stuff. They've not got it set up on a trainer, so I can't test how it shifts or anything, but ergonomics, it feels quite nice in the hands, like in aero head position, or just on the tops. Button feel, a bit clicky, a bit cheap, but well, this apparently is still a fairly prototype version, and not the full ready retail version, so we'll see how it rides when it rolls, but yeah, looks like we have lots of new electronic group sets coming out of China. So they just let me have a try of one here. So on the store, they're taking the batteries off because they're scared the competitor's going to come in and try to break them. But they just put a battery in it for me and let me have a quick play. This is actually set up 1x14 speeds. So yeah, a 14-speed rear cassette on the back. That's enough for, you know, having a really big cassette and really small jumps between the gears. Absolutely crazy. So this one is 1x. Apparently the 2x version is going to come out at the end of the year. The 2x version is going to be 2x13. So again, the new SRAM Red, which is coming out in the summer, I think that's going to be 2x13. So yeah, looks like 2x13 is going to be the new way to go. But on here, 1x14. I think 1x14, this is the first time I've ever seen it. Shifting just was pretty quick. Obviously, I don't have it on a trainer demonstrating here, we just had the wheel in the air, so it wasn't under load. So how does it shift under load? We don't know. But yeah, the first 1x40 in Groupset I've ever shifted, ever seen here at the Sensah booth. Okay, so here we are on the Li-Ning booth. Now, if you don't know Li-Ning, they're a major sports brand in China. You can think of them as the Nike or the Adidas of China or whatever. Yeah, they're a huge company with a huge R&D resources, as you can imagine. And because cycling has been booming in China, they're now reaching out into cycling and into road cycling. This is their first frame, their new project. This is their road bike frame. As you can see, a fully aero frame, but it doesn't just look aero. They've also tested it in the wind tunnel at Silverstone. So compared to the Tavelo S5, you've got similar sort of performance. At some yaw angles, this is a bit faster. At some yaw angles, the S5 is a bit faster, but if you're as fast as the S5 in a wind tunnel, then you must be fast and you're not playing around. So yeah, this is what happens when a company with a budget of millions or billions of dollars decides to get into bikes. And I think some of the others competition are going to be in trouble. So again, this is not the fully final version. It doesn't even have a name yet. But it's good to see getting more players getting into the road bike space, more choices for consumers, more high-end, high-performance bike frames. This one here, apparently, as you see here, fully aero bike frame in a size 52 with this paint job, around 950 grams. So also not a fat pig either. But very nice looking frame. Like I say, more details will be uncovered when it's launched in the second half of the year. But yeah, new brands getting into the bike space over in the Shanghai Bike Show. Okay, over here on the Tavelo booth, as you guys know, Tavelo are a friend of the channel and one of the brands we sell over on Panda Podium. We saw them at the Taipei Bike Show just a month ago or so, so not a load of new stuff since then. But one new thing we do have is this, the new version of their super light frame. So they've optimized the layup a bit and now got this down to, with the paint job in this size, 780 grams. So this is a new super light version, but as well as getting light, it's also got stiffer. Apparently we've got 20% more stiffness in the head tube as well. Also, this paint job I think looks pretty legit. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments down below. But yeah, the new Tavelo Aero Super Light version. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, you guys know Petrol. They are the in-house wheel brand of Tavelo. Again, we saw them at the Taipei show a few weeks back. But one thing that wasn't there was this, their new disc wheel. This disc wheel is just 880 grams, but that's not the main attraction. Apparently this has more lateral stiffness than any other disc wheel in the world. 100 newtons per millimeter or per degree, I'm not sure. But yeah, 100 newtons puts it in the highest ranking of any disc wheel I've tested. And yeah, obviously in theory, any elasticity of your wheel is wasting energy. So by having something that doesn't deform, you're not wasting energy. That's the theory behind it as well. Obviously on a TT bike, you don't care about comfort either. But at 880 grams, it's also one of the lightest disc wheels out there. So yeah, if you're after a very, very high-tech, weaponized disc wheel, Petrol will have you covered. Okay, also on the other side of the Tavelo booth, if you're not into your hard, stiff things, they've also got the cartoony side of stuff covered as well. So this is the Japanese manga anime Crayon Shin-chan, I believe is the name. Chinese name is Labi Xiaoxing. And they've done a collab with them basically for these 3 different paint jobs. So yeah, they've got the characters from the manga on the frame, all looking very cutie, very cool, very funky paint jobs. So yeah, if you're not after your stiff, hard race bikes, Tavelo have you covered with their cutie anime manga bikes too. Okay, so on the Panda Podium booth, I'll show you this in another day's video in more detail, but we have some nice show bikes on our booth, one of it being this lovely Tavelo Arrow with these brand new 2026 version of the Craft CRW wheels. We are going to give away a set of these wheels to one of you guys watching. All you need to do is sign up to our newsletter. The link is in the description below. That will tell you all of the details. But yeah, one of you guys watching now, you can win a set of these 2026 Craft Racing Works wheels. Hit the link in the description to find out more. Okay, here we are on the Quick Pro booth. So you guys have seen them a lot on my channel before, the AR1 and the ER1. Now we have the GR1. So this is a gravel bike, as the name suggests. You know, Quick's dig, it's always super light, it's always super stiff. And so now they've put it in a gravel bike. So the GR1, apparently the frame set just 800 and some grams, which considering, you know, the size of this and the tire clearance and stuff, not bad. It looks like we've got UDH as well, because I can see the new SRAM Axis Explorer on this bike setup here. Head tube looks similar to the AL1, so you're still getting some of your aero gains. Tire clearance, I've not found someone to ask, but that looks like you can put a 50 in the front, and I'm going to say a 50 in the back as well. So yeah, if you're after a lightweight gravel frame for your build, this is the GR1. Everyone's going to ask, when's it come to the website? It's May now. I'm going to say maybe end of June, start of July. So yeah, if you're after a gravel frame, might be worth waiting for this one. Here on the Java stand, there's always something interesting every year, and this year is no different. This is their new road bike, an aero road bike, but with a few interesting details. So I believe they call this the Victoria model. And as soon as you look at it, the first thing that strikes out is this seat tube here. So they've got the seat tube wrapped around the tire, but then obviously the seat stays come up from here. But then also really interesting is the handlebar setup. I'll get some shots of it in a minute. Basically the aero bars are built into the aero cockpit. Super nice setup. But also I noticed, so this is using L2's wireless electronic group set, but I've actually put blip shifters into this cockpit up here. So when you're in the aero position, you can still change gears as you're riding. So super cool little feature there. Also, they've got, similar to some modern frames out there, they've got the head tube kind of shrouded with this cover at the front to keep everything more aero. So Java, they're more of the more affordable brands out there. I think in China, this bike retails for like less than 2,000 US dollars, and you're getting a lot of bike for that money, obviously. And yeah, just Java, always keeping things innovative, but keeping the prices low as well. Okay, so the Shanghai Bike Show is getting more and more important. How do you know that? Because more and more Western brands are also choosing to announce their new products here at the show. So, New Zealand brand Chapter 2, they're launching this. This is the Ultra edition of their Rera frame. So this is the Rera Ultra. What's special about this? It's a very lightweight frame, which is what we've been seeing a lot of these days. So this frame set in a size medium, apparently just 700 grams. And as you can see from the paint job, also very tasty. That's one thing Chapter 2 always get right, you know, the paint jobs on the frames, and this one is no exception. So we've got gold logos on here and gold finishing on the handlebar and stuff, making this look really classy. I imagine something like this will be very popular on some coffee rides outside the cafe and all that stuff, and obviously super lightweight as well. So yeah, more and more Western brands choosing to launch their new products at the Shanghai Bike Show. Speaking of paint jobs, this is a collab between Imaginary Racing and Chapter 2 on their Kaha frame. This is their gravel frame. Yeah, it's the gravel frame. And this paint job is amazing. This is definitely up my alley. I love bright pink, I love checkered patterns, I love these bright colors. Yeah, if I was to have one of these paint jobs on the booth, I think I'd go for this one. Super bright, super loud, very funky looking paint job. Over here on the Cybrei stand, you guys know we sell a bunch of the Cybrei cranks over on Panda Podium. This year, they've got something new. They have their carbon axle version. So usually you have their alloy axled dub standard one, which is about 320 grams. They have the titanium axled 24mm one, which is about 350 grams. Let's see how heavy the carbon one is. Let's turn on these scales, get them to zero so we're all fair, put them on there. 267 grams. 267 grams, that's like 60 grams lighter than the DUB version, 70, 80 grams lighter than the 24mm version. Absolutely crazy. We sell a whole bunch of the DUB and the titanium ones over on Panda Podium, so when these guys go up, I'm sure these are going to be best sellers too. Let's see what else we can see on the Cybrei stand. If you like your hashtag toolbox wars, I've got some nice things for you. How about a carbon fiber mallet, a carbon fiber wrench, torque wrench maybe, carbon fiber disc rolling tuning tool, and a carbon fiber chain whip. I actually have one of these, been using it for a while, gifted to me from Cybrei. So yeah, if you want to pimp out your toolbox, hashtag toolbox wars, Cybrei have some cool little gadgets for you. Okay, here on the LYKOS stand, I saw these Rimpock chain rings, and this is an 80-tooth chain ring for your track bike. So yeah, if you're feeling like you got the legs for it, have a go on this one, an 80-tooth chain ring. Yeah, this makes my eyes water just looking at it. Okay, so some of the booths at the Shanghai Bike Show are absolutely crazy. One example of this is the Samassi stand. So we saw them back at the Taipei Bike Show. They do the 3D printed saddles and all that stuff, but just the size of this booth is crazy. This booth is bigger than my apartment. Like, look how much effort they put into decorating this booth. Sorry, my friend. Absolutely crazy booth size. Millions of saddles of every shape and size that you can't even believe. Helmets over here. just the amount of effort that goes into designing these booths and building these booths is phenomenal. And just part of the size of the craziness of the Shanghai Bike Show. Okay, so as I said in the intro, today's show a little special because we have the all-famous, almighty duo of Trace Velo and GP Lama. I've been super busy today, like I'm trying to run the booth, I'm trying to do meetings, I don't have that time to go and scour the show floor, so I'm gonna see today what these two have seen when they've been scouring the show floor. So, gentlemen, both of you, your first day in the Shanghai Bike Show, first time here. Shane's done a few shows before. Trace has done one show before.
One show, yeah.
So yeah, but both of you first time in Shanghai. Who's going to give it first? Give me your 30 seconds impressions of the Shanghai Bike Show.
Take on this. I guess the question is it bigger than Eurobike? I think it is. Hard to tell because the layout is very, very different. There is more B2B here, so more of that pre-consumer stuff, I guess, but there's also a big mix of consumer stuff as I look around here. So this is a mix of everything and more. So I have to say probably bigger than Eurobike.
Okay.
One thing I've noted though is that the big brands are here. It's not as if we don't cover the big brands, but they're not really releasing much. They are here, but it's the littler brands who are doing more at the moment. So I guess that's what you're going to see on most of our content is the littler known brands rising up to the top.
Yeah. Luke, what do you think of your first Shanghai Bike Show experience?
It's absolutely bonkers, honestly. So much. I mean, you were saying, both of you, that the scale of it would impress me, but it's absolutely nuts. I mean, we've got the east. This is the east section of halls, right? We're in E4, and it goes to E7.
Yep.
The bike show I was at before was really alive in London. It was a more boutique bike show. That was what I had like 60 exhibitors, maybe. That's one of these halls. So there's all of those 7, and then there's a west wing as well.
And there's one north.
I've not even stepped into those. So yeah, just an absolutely bonkers place. It's been really interesting for me actually because, like Shane, you've said, it's a real focus on B2B here. Like it's not B2C. So it's been really interesting seeing the brands that I like spot on AliExpress and seeing them on the stalls here being sold by like vendors that just sell everything else. So yeah, I saw like a Racework carbon crankset, which I've dealt with a lot, just purchased myself on AliExpress, and I saw it on a stand here. So yeah, seeing the like B2B side of things has been really enlightening actually.
Very cool. And this guy got off his plane from the UK like less than 24 hours ago, so this guy's got super jet lag. Shane also less than 48 hours ago. He's on LA time zones. He's on UK time zones.
Yeah, what time is it? It's 20 to 10 in the morning.
You're just starting with that.
So yeah, I'm breezy, easy breezy.
Awesome. Well, let's get straight through it. Let's see what everyone has seen today. What is the best thing that you've seen so far, or what's the most interesting you've seen so far?
Oh, best thing I've seen. It's hard to pick. Nothing has jumped out at me. Nothing has jumped out. Tiger bike or leopard bike.
Yep.
Almost jumped out at me.
Literally.
That was pretty scary. No, I found a few new radars and everyone's doing power meters and radars. It's not as if there's just one or two brands that we can go to, talk about, go in depth. No, there's lots and lots of them from brands that you'd never even thought of doing them. So a lot of crank brands are now doing spider power meters. So that's all my jam. I'm right into that. Bike computers, about the same. We see a few changes here and there. Not one thing I've spotted yet, but I've only done half the show. I'm yet to do the East Wing.
You've done more than me. I've done an eighth of the show so far.
Yeah. So there's still a lot to jump out. And as Type A showed us a couple of weeks back, the very last day, I've spotted all the things I couldn't find in the very first 3 days. So I'm expecting that here. There's lots to cover. Yeah. So not one thing, just lots of things.
Okay, yeah. Luke, what have you seen that's impressed you so far?
I guess it's not necessarily a product, although it was the L2 stand.
Okay.
So I went over there. There's a guy, Evan, who I've been chatting to. He's my contact at L2. We chat over email all the time. I met him in person. And just chatting to him about the setup of L2 as a brand, as a company, was really enlightening because, yeah, I said earlier, like, this is a focus on B2B. That's what L2, that's what their business is focused on, is B2B sales. So they'll provide the group sets for OEM manufacturers within China. They're not geared up for direct-to-consumer sales. So when you buy a group set on AliExpress from L2, you get it from the L2 official store. But it's not them, it's some rando third-party seller. And that's what Evan was chatting about. So it was really interesting hearing him talk about that because it threw everything into perspective because there's a big, and and I cover it in my video, but there's a big focus from the consumer on like version changes, and we chatted with, like, you're big on change logs for like GPS units and stuff. A big criticism thrown at L2 by the consumer base in general is the fact that they make version changes seemingly randomly, and there's no visibility of that as a consumer. But thinking if I'm on a B2B perspective, they'll get feedback from their OEM suppliers, be like, oh, I want this thing slightly tweaked, is that doable? And then they'll make those changes to keep the OEM B2B suppliers happy. They don't do it necessarily for the consumer, the individual consumer. And yeah, I think that he mentioned that they're potentially going to spin up a sub-brand of L2, which would focus more on direct-to-consumer sales. There was no time frame on when that would happen or what that would look like, but that's something they're considering, because clearly the market's there, especially my audience love like the L2 stuff. But I think he mentioned their customer service team is 3 people at the moment. So if you have a problem with your group set, they'll really try their best to help you out. But the team is 3 people. So
well, that reminds me, like, we had some guy the other day come up to us on Instagram. He's like, oh, I've got the L2 ERX, and I've got, how do I pair this with this? And my guy was like, oh, what's your order number? It's like, no, I bought it from AliExpress.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah, you might want to go find AliExpress. And like, sorry, but I've got paying customers waiting in line for support. So,
exactly, because that was just like a revelation moment for me, because that completely puts their business model into perspective. And a lot of the criticisms that have been thrown at them from like individual consumers does make sense when you put it into the perspective of all they're doing is trying to keep their big OEM suppliers happy.
I think that's one thing as well. Like, so everyone watching this probably works in a company, and that company has internal company politics or the motivation of the company and stuff that people outside the company wouldn't understand. You've got to realize that with these bike brands as well. Like, every bike brand has stories and internal battles going on that you don't know. And yeah, so coming to here and actually talking to people in the company, like maybe you talk to the person in the marketing department who gives you the dirt on the product department, or you talk to the guy in the product department who gives you the dirt on the marketing department, like
engineers who know the true story.
So they'll be like, oh no, we didn't think it was good at that. That was the marketing department who told it to say that. Like, we know the truth, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's good being on the stands and like getting with brands and getting in the weeds, as it were. But Shane, you said you've seen half of it, and what would you say, so you're mainly on the tech side of things, what are the big tech trends that you've seen so far this year?
Tech trends, well, as I said, everyone's doing a power meter, everyone's doing a spider-based power meter. There's a few new pedal power meters too. They're very, very, very hard to do. A spider is in one spot, a pedal are in 2 spots. So it's effectively 2 power meters you have to get right. That's moving. Yeah, pedals are very, very hard. So a lot of companies are jumping into the deep end or off the deep end. But there's a lot of proven products out there to compare to. So I wouldn't be going to market without being equivalent to what's already out there. A lot of known, good, trusted brands as well. So a lot of people jumping into the power meter space, and they're just, power meters aren't really a, oh wow, tech. It's just a, oh, you've got a power meter. It's just one of those things that I think everyone has now at this level. And bike computers are just everywhere. There are so many brands that there was one brand that had at least 25 or 30 different bike computers. But again, because it's a B2B show, they bring out everything. And because it's a global show as well, someone's going to come along from Brazil or from Portugal or from any country and say, well, no, our audience will want that at that price, not this, this, this. And so the choice is there. So you walk up to a rear light display, there's not just 1 or 2, there's like 30 rear lights. But that's where the B2Bs come along, choose what they want, and go from there. So yeah, just the sheer volume of stuff here as well. A lot of it is duplicated too. I mean, bike computers, they all pretty much do the same thing at the level that we're seeing here. There's a few top tier ones. We can't get our heads around how much it is, and you'll see it in our videos as well. Like, we can only cover we're scratching the surface today. So tomorrow we'll probably have a different answer, but yeah.
One thing I'm interested for Luke, so let's say, I think it's fair to say that a focus of Trace Velo isn't just good bike parts, it's good value for money bike parts.
Yeah, sure.
And one thing about these shows is nothing has a price on it. So you're kind of judging stuff with no like context. Like a 1,300 gram wheel set is great if it costs $200, but if it costs $2,000, that's a heavy group set. So like going around these shows with no prices on, like, is it a challenge for you?
And like, because I'm going up to vendors and asking their prices, and then like, well, it's a language barrier as well, because I don't speak Mandarin. But is that going to be the like a price per unit for an OEM when you've got a minimum order quantity of 1,000, or is that a consumer price? I tried my best to nail them down to a on the spot consumer price. I mean, there was a set of 5 or 6 spoke one-piece carbon wheels, like the Elite Velo 6 that I looked at. Yeah, that were quite wobbly laterally. Nice vertically stiff, but side to side, not ideal. But I had a look, and the Velo 6 from Elite, I think they cost $1,200 or $1,300. The ones from this supplier, I forget the name of it, he's going to give me my business card here, but they were allegedly $600 for the pair. And there was another bike brand, Camp. They had a big stall in the main. Are you familiar with that?
I know Camp, yes, CAMP, yeah.
Yeah, like huge glitzy booth. And again, the prices were pretty nuts, actually. Yeah. So there was one that was a full race machine, nice deep section wheels, admittedly Novatech, so relatively mid-level wheel set. But including Dura Ace Di2, it was equivalent of $3,500 for the full bike. So what that would look like after tariffs with import and whether it's even available for Western markets, I guess that's where Panda Podium comes in, right? But yeah, it has been interesting talking about price because, we've said many times now, it's a B2B show, so trying to nail them down to a consumer price has been quite tough.
Yeah, and also to go back to AliExpress, like even on AliExpress, like the price changes every day as well.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So trying to keep up here. But yeah, that's one thing that I find going around. It's just like, having no context of price, like totally takes away any value of is it good, is it bad. So I think that's some what we talked about earlier as well. Like our job at these shows isn't to show you if this is good or bad. It's just to show you like what exists and then what might be coming in the future, and then whether it's a good buy or a bad buy, we wait till later videos.
Yeah, so brand awareness and product awareness. I mean, who knew that Cost Pro were doing radars now? I didn't. I do now in my video. Hopefully the viewers will know now. Once I get to the edit of that up. So there's a lot of, you walk around one corner, oh, I didn't realize you did that and that. It's just that sort of awareness, even for ourselves, knowing what these companies do. But it does take time to dive into these things, like it does with the group sets. You need to install it yourself. Someone was asking me about the machine group set. What's it like? How's it go? I'm like, I don't know. I've seen it. I've looked at it. Until we get it on the bike, and that's what we do. I mean, that's what takes time. So we can't get that from these shows, but we can get the contacts to do that in the near future.
Very cool. Last question. Most interesting conversation both of you had today. Most interesting conversation.
I haven't been misidentified, which is good. Because someone asks me, oh, you live in the States or something like that, or they talk about some other content. You get that every now and then.
Are you DC Rainmaker?
Yeah, I'll get you live in the Netherlands. I'm like, no.
You've got that cargo bike, right?
We do now, yeah. And then, or you'll get someone coming up halfway through a conversation with a content you've done before, and you're like, that's not my content. None of those conversations, which is good.
Okay.
No, the most awkward conversation I think is when people approach you. Now this is the approach show. I've never had this before. They're here to sell their gear. I use a different term in my video.
They're very brave.
Absolutely, but they're on the ball. They're here to, I mean, it's business, here to do business. People walking past, of course you're going to hand them your brochure, of course you're going to talk to them, of course you're going to hassle them. I actually had to do a couple of edits on my video today because halfway through my outro, I got hassled, like big time, by a company who wanted their stuff pretty much in my video. I'm like, wait, I'm going to have to do that again.
But good on the ball sales technique.
That's what they're here for. It's not a show for YouTubers. It's not a show for, it's not a marketing show, I guess, as such, for sort of what we do. We're sort of just sliding in where we can to bring out the brands and the products and what's available. So not one conversation, just millions of little conversations where I feel like I'm a bit rude. I'm like, no. But everyone's polite enough, so no, it's all good. That's my answer on that one.
Very cool. Luke, what's your most interesting conversation so far?
Yeah, easily the combo I had with Evan at L2. Yeah. Just super enlightening. But again, to your point, it's they come and they're like, you go up to a booth and you're like, oh, this is really interesting, show me. And they'll be like, oh, what's your business card? What are your minimum order quantities? We're like, oh, I make YouTube videos. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. And then just like leave. But yeah, I guess, so Evan from L2 for sure. And I'm quite interested to go and speak to Wheeltop tomorrow. Their booth was bonkers today because they had so many giveaways. Because it was I didn't realize it's a Chinese bank holiday today. So there's loads of members of the public around, and like it's not a work day. So
and kids.
Yeah,
kids love a giveaway.
And kids, yeah. So there was loads of giveaways at the Wheeltop stand. So I didn't get a chance to go in and chat with them. Because I didn't really rate the last group set, the EDS TX. So yeah, I'll be interested to have a look, see what's changed, see what's updated, because yeah, the product evolution of these Chinese brands is rapid. So I'm sure there's going to be some changes. So really interested to see them. But yeah, another one as well was the Dragon stand.
Oh yeah,
Dragon bikes, they are flashy as. But yeah, didn't get a chance to chat with those guys.
Good thumbnail there as well, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But yeah, so I've been pretty busy today. Like, so we have our own booth here. I've not even put my own booth in my own video yet. I've got my own wheels sitting there. I've not even shot those yet. Maybe tomorrow's video, we'll see. But yeah, like, so every time I walk around and I start a conversation with someone, like the clock's ticking, I'm like, oh, I've got to make a video.
Yeah.
But there was one conversation I had today. I had this conversation with this guy, and I'm not going to name him because I know he's watching the show. The guy is like the OG godfather of like wind tunnels. So
I saw the stand, the booth they have.
Yeah,
yes.
He's related to the Hong Kong Polytechnic wind tunnel, which is, I went there a few months back for some testing stuff, but he wasn't there when I went. And anyway, I bumped into him and we started talking. The guy is like legit. Like, so he lived in the UK for 30 years, like graduated from Cambridge with like a PhD in fluid dynamics or whatever. He's the godfather of a whole bunch of wind tunnels around the world, including this one now in Hong Kong and stuff. And the guy was just like, you could talk to him for hours about testing in laminar flow versus turbulent flow and rotational losses, and like the clock was ticking, but I was just like absorbing information. So yeah, you just need to find a way to pause time and like kind of stretch out and stuff. But yeah, we're fastly approaching the end of day one. Like I say, there's too much for one person to cover, thus I have these two fine gentlemen. So I'm not sure on upload schedules, who's going to be quicker, who's going to be slower, we'll see. But at some point in the future, Shane's video will go up with a more tech focus, so go watch his videos. And Luke's video will go with a more of a focus on...
just some random stuff. I don't know, whatever took my fancy.
That's the best
basically.
stuff. The random stuff is the good stuff. I try to do the power meters and head units and all that, but it's like the leopard bike that gets my attention. So, and I think it's worth seeing everything.
Yeah, I saw a wood grain crankset, which was interesting. But yeah, I'll be showing all sorts of rando stuff. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that.
Awesome. Yeah. So all the usual stuff. Check out these two guys' videos, head to pandapodium.cc, and tomorrow is going to be day 2. We've got day 3 and day 4. Boys, the Coke's going to keep coming. These beers, who put these beers here? But yeah, see you tomorrow.
Awesome.
Bye-bye. Okay, so day 1 of the 2025 Shanghai Bike Show brought to you by pandapodium.cc. The day is almost over. They're about to kick us out. I've barely scratched the surface. I've not even shown you our own booth. I've been so busy running out other people's booths. But go check out Shane Miller's video so you can see the tech he's found. Go see Luke Trace Miller's video so you can see stuff he found. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll show you some of the things we've got on the booth here. On our booth here, we've got some crazy 800-gram wheels as well. So make sure you check back tomorrow to see those wheels. But other than that, same as usual, like, subscribe. Don't forget the giveaway. We're doing a giveaway of these wheels. Link is in the description below. And I'm going to go take a much needed rest. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. China Cycling out.